Serious. What is the creepiest or most unexplained thing that's happened to you that you still think about to this day?
One night the door to my room started creaking open, like a half-inch at a time. If I would look right at the door, it would stop, but when I'd look at the book I was reading and back up, it would be just a bit more open. Finally, it was almost wide enough for someone to walk through, so I said stop it, in as commanding a voice as I could muster, and it stopped mid-creak. 160-plus-year-old house. Everything creaked. I was almost too scared to go to sleep that night. I know for a fact that no one in my family was home that night. Another thing was a constant occurrence in my childhood. I grew up on a fairly isolated farm, with a wood that came up to the barn on one side and acres of fields between us and any neighbor. Every night when I'd finish chores, shut off the barn light and close the door. The only light would be from a dim porch light about 40 yards from the barn. And as it wasn't too overcast or foggy, the moon and stars. Anyway, every night I'd feel something staring at me from around the corner of the barn. I somehow knew it had red eyes and was about 10 feet off the ground. I could feel evil coming from it. And I'd always run to the house as fast as I could, certain it was right behind me. I didn't know what it was, and as terrified as I was, I never told anyone about it because my parents had a habit of dismissing stuff like that. And even as a kid, I didn't want to be seen as a sissy crybaby, which is definitely what my dad would have called me. With time, I kind of got over it and figured it was an overactive imagination combined with too many goosebump stories that caused it. That is, until about 8 years later, when I'm sitting around swapping spooky stories with my friend, who basically grew up on a farm. She said that as soon as the lights were off in the barn, she felt something scary and evil staring at her from the same corner of the barn. I asked a few questions, and yes, she felt it was about 10 feet off the ground, and even though she never actually saw whatever it was, she was sure it had red eyes. I was freaking out, and it got worse when I asked my siblings if they had ever been scared by anything near the barn. I was careful not to ask leading questions, and every single one of them said the same thing. There was a scary thing that would stare from the corner of the barn when they'd turn off the light. I know it was just a feeling that we all grew out of, but how likely is it that we all felt the same thing from the same place?